Welcome to the bell curve. There's a particular sort of confidence a machine can display on its first day in the world. Most consoles shuffle out of the gate, proud yet unsure, hoping early adopters will forgive their teething troubles. The GameCube, however, arrived with a different sort of flourish. Not a brash announcement, not a chest-thumping display, but something rather more elegant. It arrived with Rogue Leader. Star Wars Rogue Squadron II Rogue Leader wasn't a launch title, it was a declaration. A statement of capability from Nintendo and a Factor 5 that suggested, quite calmly, that the smallest console of its generation had come prepared. Today, I want to return to that moment. To the whir of the GameCube's disk drive, to the silhouette of an X-Wing drifting across the title screen, and to the question that's lingered ever since. Was Rogue Leader the GameCube's first true killer app? Or have we allowed nostalgia to add an extra coat of polish? Cast your mind back to the early 2000s. Nintendo's reputation was in an unusual place. The N64 had landed tremendous highs, yet its third-party support had thinned, and the industry was increasingly eyeing other shores. The GameCube needed something impressive at launch, something that said, with poise rather than panic, we're still in the fight. Into that scene stepped Factor 5, a studio with a reputation for technical wizardry and an unflinching love of Star Wars. They'd already made a name for themselves with Rogue Squadron on the N64, squeezing the poor cartridge until it faintly sparkled. Now they had a new machine, a new disc format, and the audacity to attempt a cinematic spectacle at a time when that word was still more aspiration than reality. And so, Rogue Leader emerged, shimmering like freshly polished Durasteel. One of the most remarkable things about revisiting Rogue Squadron today is how little you need to forgive it. We have grown accustomed to seeing older games through the softening haze of goodwill, allowing our fondness to airbrush jagged edges. Rogue Leader resists that entirely. It still looks astonishing. The ships carry a weight and texture that seems improbable for a 2001 machine. Cockpits aren't merely decorative, they are detailed, layered miniatures of industrial design. Lasers carry a crackling intensity that imitates the films with a near religious dedication. It wasn't just flair. Factor 5 were exploiting every corner of the hardware. They crafted bespoke lighting systems, streamed data with an almost illicit efficiency, and pushed particle effects far beyond what anyone expected from those cheerful purple cubes sitting under our bedroom televisions. To the untrained eye, it felt like a generation ahead. To the trained one, it felt like a small miracle executed at launch. However, spectacle without sensation is hollow. Rogue Leader understood that intimately. The controls were crisp in a way that made flight feel instinctive. You weren't merely piloting a machine, you were inhabiting a craft under fire, dancing through debris fields, weaving between TIE fighters with a kind of balletic urgency. There's a distinctive pleasure in the game's handling, firm yet forgiving, demanding yet generous. Each mission approached the fantasy from a different angle. The trench run wasn't just a level, it was an invitation to inhabit a moment carved into the collective imagination. Skimming across the surface of the Death Star felt tense in a way no words quite manage. Because Rogue Leader didn't attempt to recreate the film shot for shot. It focused on the sensation beneath the surface, the narrowness, the speed, the slight tremble of danger at the edges of your vision. This wasn't imitation, it was interpretation, the kind that respects the past, but refuses to be shackled by it. Then there was the soundscape, arguably the most powerful illusionist trick the game employed. Star Wars has always lived through its sound design, the unmistakable growl of a TIE engine, the warm hum of an X-Wing's lasers, the orchestral sweep that makes every minor moment feel like recorded history. Factor 5 wielded audio like a conductor's baton. Their surround sound work was, for its time, outrageous. Enemies streaked past with directional clarity that made you instinctively turn your head. The score rose and fell with a kind of timing that made missions feel scripted, even when they were not. The GameCube shouldn't have been capable of such grandeur, yet here it was. filling living rooms with the roar of starships as if it had always been designed to. A system's debut software often carries an air of compromise. Development cut short, ideas left half-formed. Rogue Leader displayed none of that. It behaved as though it had been waiting its whole life to take centre stage. In doing so, it shaped the early perception of the GameCube more forcefully than Nintendo ever admitted. It demonstrated that the console wasn't merely charming, it was powerful. It could engage in technical showmanship when the situation demanded it. It could prompt players to sit forward in their seats and widen their eyes in disbelief. Some say a killer app is a game that forces people to buy a console. Others claim it must define the system's personality. Rogue Leader arguably did both. It convinced many that the GameCube was more than a cute curio. It suggested promise, capability, and a willingness to surprise. Time, of course, is the great embellisher. Memories soften, victories grow larger in the retelling, and we are all prone to stroking the grain of nostalgia until it gleams. So we must ask, does Rogue Leader truly deserve its lofty reputation, or have we inflated it through affection? The truth is rather delightful. The game's legend is largely justified. It doesn't collapse under scrutiny, it seems to welcome it. Its achievements weren't imagined, they were engineered with almost mischievous skill. When you play it now, you aren't coddling an elderly title. You're encountering a piece of work that remains startlingly self-assured. If nostalgia is present, it serves only as garnish. The dish beneath still stands. So was Rogue Leader the GameCube's first killer app? It may well have been the console's opening soliloquy, a moment of unexpected bravado that set a tone far richer than its competitors anticipated. It wasn't the mascot-driven charm one might associate with Nintendo. It wasn't whimsy or nostalgia or quirk. It was spectacle, precision, and a wholehearted embrace of cinematic fantasy. The GameCube had many treasures, but none arrived with quite the same sense of occasion as Rogue Leader. It walked onto the stage on day one, bowed ever so slightly, and let the applause follow naturally.